Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is all about the new moon of March 2024. And I see a central feature of the new moon's energies is us having to cope with a possible clash between what we have to do out of duty and yet what we need to do for our fullness of our creative expression. So in this video, I make a very needed and worthwhile review of the key energies of this March new moon. And I do suggest you do a vision journey and or intention setting. I did a vision journey myself this morning as to how I can best understand and manage the energies of this new moon and the upcoming following lunation. And I certainly suggest you consider doing the same for your life now. Based on my own journey, you might like to consider including the following factors in your vision journey or intention setting. So I would suggest do a vision journey to see what comes to you to identify your needed pathway forward now through this lunation and beyond. Identify what factors in your life you need to balance as you go forward in this lunation. Identify and develop deep understanding of whether there's a clash between any of the factors. Clashes within yourself, indeed. And seek to get the answer of how you must handle that. Identify what creative expression of yours you need to make and sustain and nurture amid the clash energies. Identify what special qualities you personally need as a man or a woman to make your journey through this lunation and beyond. Like, for example, just as an example, do I need to maintain sensible and solid boundaries? That sort of question. And also identify what blocks or hazards you might need to deal with, like, for example, any paranoid, fearful mind patterns, any weaknesses in ourselves. So, decide what intentions you need to make and to note down. And definitely connect to the courageous you. Connect to the strong you. So, another factor is that the spring equinox is coming on March the 21st. So make this journey from this lunation be a journey towards a harvest in your life. We're only at the spring equinox, so it'll take time and diligence, weeding, sowing and reaping to get your needed harvest. But make the start steps and the continuing steps so that your harvest will happen, and try and define it. And it'll happen with duty and work, with courage and mind management, and I feel it will be helped, well it is for me, with intuitive journeying work. And certainly you need to define what your creativity is and express that ongoingly as the journey unfolds. So this new moon is the 10th of March here in Ireland. Sun and moon are at 26 Vedic Aquarius in Purvabhadra Nakshatra. In the Western Tropical Zodiac, that's 20 Pisces. So to see the charts of this new moon, do go to my Star Wheel Astrology website, and under the More drop down, go to the monthly astrology pages, and there are the charts in Vedic and Western astrology. So in this post, I'll be focusing on 6 very useful to know March new moon energies. I'll summarise them now. Sun and moon are in Aquarius, in Purva Bhadra Nakshatra. Asteroid Pallas is square the moon. Mars and Saturn are each super strong and in fullest dignity, much stronger than the other planets. This new moon is actually trine Jupiter and Uranus, and we can all benefit from that. In this new moon chart, Lilith is opposite Saturn. And in this new moon chart, Vedic Pisces is strongly activated with Neptune there, and also Rahu North Node conjunct Chiron the wounded healer. Let's look in more detail at those points. Okay, Moon and Sun in Aquarius in Purva Bhadra Nakshatra. Now the energy of Aquarius is innovative and humanitarian. Check out which house in your birth chart is Aquarius. And then you can go to my Star Wheel Astrology March page to find out the life area meanings of each of the houses, to find out which area of yours will be especially affected by this new moon. So Moon and Sun are Aquarius, but they're also in Purva Bhadra Nakshatra. Vedic astrology uses the 12 solar signs and also the magnificent 27 sign lunar zodiac, which is such a powerful statement of our emotionally based personality, warts and all, a deep statement of its issues and our spiritual imperatives. Now the power animal of Purva Bhadra is the lion. So feel the force of the lion in this lunation coming up. The deity of Purva Bhadra is an expression of death and destruction and the path to rebirth. And we're always, us humans, having to go through destruction and rebirth and following that path to rebirth. The deity is sometimes known as Aja Ekapada. Now he's a form of Rudra, the storm god, the thunder god. Get the message? It's big stuff. And therefore he's a form of Shiva. He's cleansing fire. So be aware that that's around and cooperate with it. But associated with him are the fire dragon and the water dragon. They represent the marvellous serpent path to transcendence. And certainly the serpent figures in so many spiritual pathways, going back most anciently. There's great spiritual enlightenment and insight to be found, seeing how we connect to the energies of serpents. So, as I said, his brother are the fire dragon and the water dragon. And so, well, what are serpents? They shed skins to transform. They have fangs to defend themselves. They can move very swiftly. They can weave around from left to right if needed. That's just a few of the examples of special serpent energy. Point number 2, this is very important. Asteroid Pallas is square this new moon. With this new moon in Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, where Saturn's in his own sign and very strong, we will feel the demand for duty at the time of this new moon, for the tying up of unfinished business, and to be methodical and responsible and work with our karmas. But it must be noted that Pallas asteroid is square this new moon. So we will feel a clash here with our need for creative expression versus the call for hard work duties. We will feel the need to express ourselves despite the pressures of our culture, our upbringing, the bureaucrats who rule our lives, the pressure from situations we ourselves have landed ourselves with or others have landed us with. I think, because Pallas is square this new moon, these will be an issues to look out for, be aware of and manage. Pallas Athena is war goddess energy. The Greek stories of her show her being born in full armour, and she has Medusa's head surrounded by the writhing snakes on her breastplate. And the Greek stories also tell of her distributing regenerative medicine to healers. And so, facing Saturn is Pallas, war, skill, creative intelligence, healing and spiritual warrior energy. We have to balance those two sides, our duty and our creativity, to put it very simply. Point number 3, note that Mars and Saturn are super strong. In fact, in the new moon, according to Vedic astrology analysis methods, there are only 2 wide awake and strong planets. These are Mars and Saturn. So according to Vedic astrology is very valuable. Jagradadya Vashta's analysis, Mars in Capricorn is the strongest with highest dignity, but Saturn is still super strong, just a little bit less. Mars and Saturn. And they are a combination which can produce aggression, but also feeling of a frustration. Because Mars wants to go, 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 and Saturn says, oh no, check things out, blah, blah, blah. So we need to balance again, with being diligent and dutiful in order to earn Saturn's divine reward of golden reaping. But we also need to be able to be effective and productive, our strong Mars energy. Fourthly, this new moon is trying Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Aries. There's luck and success and force around. This new moon is trine Jupiter-Uranus. What a wonderful, cheering boost for each of us to be aware of. Check out what house, i.e. life area, is Aries in your Vedic chart. Point number 5. This is a big one, a deep one. Lilith is opposite Saturn. This is a super important energy to be aware of. Lilith is all the material that got stuffed down into our unconscious and into our shadow side. This can be bad things about us that we couldn't face or work out how to deal with. But it can also be wonderful things about us that weren't allowed by our parents, our siblings, our priests, our teachers, or this society, or whoever. We, each of us, need to bring our unconscious material into the light and sort it out. Otherwise it drives us and we can't think what it is or where it is that this driving and impulse for us to do certain things is coming from. But unconscious material really does drive us. So it's important to make the effort to realise how unconscious material is driving you now. And how Saturn is laying demands on each of us now. And how do those two, the Lilith and the Saturn, get on? Well, they don't collide very nicely. And we have to use awareness and do appropriate healing in this lunation. So my sixth and last point is Pisces. Rahu North Node is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. Neptune is in Pisces. It's really important to be aware that Pisces is infused with power and with intuitive development potential and healing possibilities at this time. This is partly because Rahu, North Node's driven ambitious energies are fueling and impelling our Chiron wounded healer impulse to identify our wounds and heal them, and thus to become the healer of others. And the process is very intuitive because it's in Pisces. And of course, because Rahu North Node is involved, it's part of the nodal axis. So look the other end of the nodal axis and see Ketu South Node transiting in Virgo. And over again I'm encountering that people are getting loads of awareness for health, healing and dietary improvement as Ketu is transiting through Virgo now. But plus also, of course, the very special components that Ketu carries, particularly if you have a planet in Virgo that Ketu will be transiting over, particularly if you have your nodal return now. In other words, if you have your natal Ketu in Virgo, your natal Rahu in Pisces. You see, the thing is, we each come into this life where Ketu is in our chart. And that start point, well, Ketu brings to that start point for our life all the karmas we ran up in our past life and going back thousands of years. Actually, that's not quite true. Not all the karmas, but a selection of the karmas. And there's a wonderful analysis I can do for you in a reading by looking at your D60 Shashti-Amsha divisional chart or Varga chart, which states all the karmas you ran up past life and earlier, and which are attaching to which planet of yours. And the perception is that when we died at the end of our last life, our higher self made a selection from that full karmic inheritance, and that selection is our birth chart, what we're born to work with in this life. But of course, Ketu most definitely also carries the energy of our past lives. And if you've got a big Ketu activation, it's essential to get past life readings. I have so benefited from these. I've just had my Ketu return. My Ketu is in Libra. So the nodal return officially ended October the 30th, but the ramifications are still going on. I'm still working with them. But it's not only your past lives, it's your ancestral issues. And that came to me so fully during the fullness of my nodal return. And I found that it's important, I must not be critical of my ancestors, even though many of them did terrible things to me. Partly because they can't necessarily be blamed. We each of us come into this world with the karmic potential to do wrong things. Indeed, the highest meaning of that can be that thereby we see that they're wrong this time and don't bring them further in this life and into future lives. It isn't up to us to be critical and negative. I did a 5-year field study of spiritual forms new to the West, university-based and based mainly in Glastonbury in England. And from Buddhism, I so learned the importance of us growing and growing in relation to compassion. And in fact, I built a little ancestral altar to deal with what was arising for me in this period of nodal return of K2 transiting over my natal K2. So I'm telling you this in case this information is helpful to you, and do get a reading from me. And by the way, I offer many wonderful readings. See my Star Wheel Astrology website, and I teach truly wonderful astrology courses online. They're learned and they're extremely personalised. In fact, for each planet, for example, you study that planet in your chart, that planet in my chart, and you discuss with me what findings you come to. And so because it's about two genuine people, it makes my courses so authentic and genuine. And you can go to the courses pages on my Star Wheel Astrology website. So, I hope this video and blog post can be really useful to you, both as a statement of the planet energies of this new moon and of the ensuing lunation period. A nice